Hello, Megan.
Hello, Michelle.
Welcome to the Spicy Brain podcast,
Podcast.
where we are navigating neurodiversity with curiosity, joy, and
Radical acceptance. High kick.
So welcome if you're new. We're so happy you're joining us. It's really great, actually, because we have this whole new little group of people coming to visit us from your Twitch stream, which has been great. And then we've had some people refer us to other people. And then some of our original people have been reaching out. Maybe they didn't see the last few, but then, or listen to the last few, but then now they're back. So anyway, it's been great to kind of catch up with everybody. And we are always trying to sort of navigate our neurospicy brains, yours and mine. We have different versions of spice.
Yep.
You might be a little bit more caliente. I might be a little bit more cumin. I don't know. Anyway, but who knows?
You're the salt. You're the building block of all recipes, Michelle.
That's right. That's right. So for those of you who are returning, you know that we usually are getting into a book. And right now we're doing The Essential Guide to Raising Complex Kids. Mm-hmm. And by Elaine Taylor Klaus, which I now finally remember the name, which that's my issue, right? One of my neurospices is absolutely no name recognition at all for people. Faces, no problem.
Yeah.
But name recognition, a little tough. And then we try to dig into our brains to think about it from our perspective. And then if we can, we have a suggestion. But that's been like very light on the suggestions because we realize we are not professionals.
We are just sisters.
Sisters, yes.
Yeah.
So obviously anything that we talk about is really from our point of view and not meant to be taken as anything that anybody should feel obligated to do or follow.
Yeah, or like medical advice or anything. Yeah, we're not here for advice. We're just here to chat.
Here to chat, for sure. Okay, so I wanted to kind of circle back because we've done a few of these little light podcasts, right, where it's been maybe like 20, 30 minutes, just because we're catching up because you're moving and you just moved.
Did.
And I think this is really actually super important for anyone neurospicy. Is moving just creates all kinds of havoc for lots of reasons for everybody. You don't have to be neurospicy to have it. But I thought maybe we could just talk through the last like week and a half, because I feel like everything happened in a matter of 10 days or something crazy for you.
It did. It was wild. And my nervous system, all of my systems are coming down off of it now. Because poor Brian, both Brian and I both crashed equally. It's just like, ah.
Okay, so it starts with you guys getting out of your old house. Yeah. And then moving maybe like 10 minutes down the road or something.
Not even we moved. Well, we moved. Sorry. Yeah, we got out of the house and then we moved into a temporary facility for about 10 days about a week. And then we waited for the new stuff, our stuff to arrive at the new house. And that one's about 10 to 15 away from where we were at before. And then it was, like starting on Monday, they moved everything in. We don't have a garage, so everything had to come into the house. I don't think it had to, but like it had to. Because a lot of stuff, like basically like it would have been, it would have been really helpful had they like set the furniture out first and then brought the boxes in.
Oh.
But because of how they packed, like they were packing furniture and boxes all kind of at the same time. So we just like the house became full of boxes. And since we don't have a garage or any other area that's covered, we are living amongst boxes. And then,
so
yeah,
I just want to stop us for a second. So you, in the period of 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, if that, you had to pack up everything in your house, move to a hotel basically with the 2 dogs and a cat.
Yep.
And you had to then get the movers came, which is great, right? To have movers. So we're not, that's like a luxury that the military does offer you.
Yep.
But then you don't get to control how stuff gets put in.
No.
So they just load it all up.
Mm-hmm.
You're still at the hotel with the dogs. You're trying to get the former place cleaned out.
Right.
Cleaned up, right? And then you get the keys to the new place and you decide you're going to paint.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You're going to paint before all the boxes get moved in.
Yeah,
right?
That seems reasonable.
Right. So I'm just like remembering you guys for 3 days just painting and painting, and I would call and I'm like, how's it going? And you're like, it's the wrong color, or like,
oh
whatever.
My God.
And then you're panicking because you're worried that there's like a speaker system because it's the military, so you're gonna hear at 7 a.m. the
the reveille,
and then you realize that this isn't gonna happen, but you're worried about it and you're panicked. And I remember saying to you at this one point, and I'm just bringing this to the story because this was not helpful at the time,
and there's only 2 prongs. Everything is pre-1970s, so it's like
for outlets.
Yeah. So none of our stuff plugs in. Yeah.
Okay. So you're having all of these things that require executive functioning happen at the same time. And I say to you the following, and then I realized it, like you asked me a great question after I said it, which I was like, Meg, just remember, like, you're highly sensitive. And you were like, and you're like holding a bucket of paint, like we're on FaceTime and you're holding a bucket of paint and like a paintbrush, and you're looking at me and like, how does that help me in this exact moment? and I had to like send a text later because I was like trying to say it then, but of course I didn't have the right words. And I was like, because this is gonna feel overwhelming for a while, but it's gonna get better. And you're like, it's okay, this is like exactly what happened, whatever. Like in my mind I thought I was being super helpful. Not helpful at all.
Like, how does that help me right now, knowing that I'm highly sensitive?
I'm like, don't forget, you're highly sensitive. You're like, no, Simoli, like, no kidding,
Sherlock. I knew honestly, like, you were trying something new, and I really appreciate that now. But at the time I was like, what the fuck?
I felt so bad. I was like, okay, wait. And then I had to go back, and I'm like, I sent a text, and I think I was like able to be a bit more articulate, but what I meant was really like, it's okay. Like,
to feel the way I was feeling.
All the things you're feeling. Of course, I'm still learning how to say that in a way that is good for you to hear.
Yeah.
So, but it was funny to me that you didn't lose it on me, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You were very clear. Like, how does that
help me in this moment?
Yeah, not my best moment. But I have to say, I'm coming out in a couple days, right? I'll be there actually tomorrow.
Yeah.
I come in tomorrow night. And I'm curious. We've been, podcasting for 2 years now, all about executive functioning and making decisions. And now there's a million boxes and a million decisions, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of, right?
Yeah.
So what can you like dig in? Like, do you have the energy to dig in a little bit right now and like tell us what your body/mind is doing during this move? Because we've had podcast after podcast of you talking about how much progress you've made.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if having a move like this feels like different than it has in the past, or if it feels like, oh, I'm, going back 10 steps, or does it feel like, I'm just curious where you're at with this move as opposed to other moves.
I think multiple things can be true at the same time, where I feel like there are moments where I'm like, wow, I've really come so far. And then there are moments where I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fall into the pit of despair.
Okay, so let's start with the like, you've come so far. So what's the come so far part?
Well, I think my anxiety has come very far, in the sense that this is the first move I've done where I haven't been full blown stressing out about it prior to.
That's true. You were very calm going into it.
Yeah, which was weird. And, I mean, like what I'm kind of learning is like, we joked about it at the beginning, but like really, I think we all do kind of have different spices and our spicy level is very different. So Brian and I both react to this very traumatic moment in different ways. And so it's interesting. Like mine is like, I like create a list, and if I don't have the list, like I'm lost. There was one day I forgot the list and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm just going to sit here and play a game. And I downloaded a game on my phone just so I can have something to do and stay out of the way of the movers. um, but I think for this process, like it feels very, my brain feels very swirly right now. It's gotten better. Like I think my physical stamina is much higher, which is really exciting. And
because you've been doing all your PT and really taking care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been really encouraging. Like I didn't throw my back out once.
Amazing.
Once, Michelle. I mean, every time we do something big, like something traumatic happens. Either I, fall down a stair or, something happens. Like I'm just out.
Been very rare times you've moved that we haven't had to take you to the ER.
Yeah. So for like my back literally only having one moment that I can remember where it twinged and I was like, oh, I got to use my abs more. Okay. Or I need to take a break, like that was a huge shift for me, which doesn't really have much to do with ADHD. But I think that like being neurodivergent, I think that all of these like physical issues is that the right word?
Yeah. Compound.
That's the word I was thinking of. Yeah. They compound. Yeah. And, like I'm just acutely aware of everything. So like I'm acutely aware of everything in my body. So when something doesn't feel right, then I'm very aware of like, oh, and that doesn't feel good. And that doesn't feel good. And I'm just like hyper focusing on all the things that are wrong in my body. Like, it's so interesting, Michelle. I was just talking to Alcina, my PT lady, and we were talking about like how I need to start thinking about pain and sensations. Meaning, every time my body has a sensation, I associate and equate it to pain. Like if it doesn't feel good, I call that pain. Because I think that's like what my young brain understood, because that's when I started having pain. And she's like, well, there's a difference between like acute pain, like stabbing, versus like aching and throbbing. And, those are all different types of sensations, she says, not pain. Because aching and throbbing is just telling you something. It's not necessarily pain. Like pain is like usually sharp stabbing. We need to deal with it right away. It's an acute situation. But these other ones are like, so it's been interesting, like having to really rethink like, So I just, so for instance, like we were painting and I had this really awesome, laddering situation, scaffolding. That's what it's called. I have live scaffolding, and I had to go up and down a couple of steps, and my watch clocked me going up 7 flights of stairs.
Wow.
So then, of course, that day my knee is throbbing, and I said, well, my knee was in pain, and she's like, well, was it in pain, or was it had you just used it? And I was like, that's an interesting question. I guess I just used it. She's like, it's like, there's a reason for the pain, right? Or there's a reason for the sensation. So it's like, I have to stop thinking about sensations as pain. It's just been fascinating.
It's sort of like having that emotional vocabulary, right? That you don't just say I'm angry or I'm sad. Like you have all these flavors or like gradients of emotions. There's a lot of ways to describe the sensations in your body, it sounds like she's saying. That's kind of interesting. Yeah.
And I think that that's actually really helping me kind of think through like what's happening in my brain as well. because there's all these like weird sensations that have been happening. And I found myself like, so last night was probably the worst night that Brian and I had together. We've actually done really, really well up until last night. And I think what it was is that like we both like are overachievers in a lot of ways. And like we had took a day off and then we're like, well, we can't take 2 days off. But I think we needed to take an extra day. Like I was feeling like I just wanted to sit in bed and like watch shows and just like do nothing. Yeah. And he also, I think, was needing that because like he's like he's dealing with this differently than I am, and so like he's just had a lot of like issues. Like he's physically not been well, and I and like it's so
and
I
he's
think
retiring too, right? So he has a whole other emotional component that's just beyond just the moving.
Yeah, and so like that's the thing is like your body is a barometer for all of that. And so I think like, I finally was just like, so like yesterday was the only day that we were kind of like yelling at each other, but it wasn't
pretty
very
good
long.
Though. Yeah,
that's
pretty good.
Pretty amazing. And also like, I think it was, there was a lot of moments like where I like would get really frustrated and then I just had to like sit down and like breathe. Because I, like, for me, it's like, I have this thing where, okay, so there's all this stuff in boxes and I'm like, let's move the boxes around until we figure out where we're putting things. And then once we figure out where we're putting things, then we can unbox stuff and like know where to put it. Cause otherwise you're just going to have like a bunch of little things floating around. And sure enough, like, Brian's like, okay, unpack your room. So I did. And then like all of the stuff that was in my thing, like all things kept falling when we were moving things around. And like, one of my trophies broke and like another thing like so a bunch of my stuff was breaking and it's like, okay, in the grand scheme of things it's not a big deal, but like in my brain it is a big deal. And in that moment I just like kind of it wasn't even shutting down, I was just getting really angry because I was like, this is not going the way that I need it to go and I wanted to go differently, but then he needs it to go his way because he has his own neurospiciness. And so it was like kind of just trying to like come together, and it was really, and also I move incredibly fast. I've always talked fast, I've always moved fast, like I am the H of the ADHD. And I tend to move faster than him, so then I'm always like moving us too quickly for him, and then he gets behind, or like things just don't work out, we're not in sync in that way, so like I have to slow down and then like he has to compromise. And so it's just like there's a whole lot of compromising happening that's been really challenging to have two ADHD individuals who don't have the executive functioning trying to move. And so the joke was there was, I think we were like in the temporary lodging and Brian says, wait, Michelle's coming? Oh, thank God. Well, Michelle will be here and it'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Well, it's funny because I think most places you've moved, I've come out at some point.
Yeah.
To help, and it really, it not the last move I get. No, I think even the last. Yeah, I think it's towards almost the end, every move. Yeah, it's not like right at the beginning.
The last one was easier because it was all in the garage. And so we would just go and get a box and we'd bring it in, and that was much, much easier. This was like a whole other level of... It was like, it was like level 8 in the Mario worlds. Like you're at level 8-4 and you're like at the very end and like you're about to battle the Koopas. And it's like, oh my gosh.
So we've talked over the time about your butler and your butler being kind of a jerk and yelling at you, or your drill sergeant, I guess, really. So did the drill sergeant come out at all? Or
I think the drill sergeant came out yesterday when it was like I had been really actually very productive, and like, but I also had people helping me along the way. So it was like when there's nobody here and there's no movers, like my next door neighbor is not here, all of that's gone. Then it's like me. And then my drill sergeant started coming out. And I think it was like, I just really just needed to rest yesterday again, but I didn't feel like I was allowed to.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if I can't speak for Brian, but it kind of felt that way too. Like once we kind of settled down and just relaxed, it was like, oh yeah, we just probably needed to relax a little bit longer because we just been
We've
going
been
for
on
like,
the go for 2 weeks. Yeah.
and
I mean,
it's
it's
not
been
even just
crazy.
on the go. Like it's like we
No.
went from like
Yeah.
doing nothing, you know, being pretty sedentary, which that's not great, but like we're working on that, to literally like I'm like my watch is saying I'm blowing past my move, I'm blowing past my exercise. Like, you know, we
Yeah.
were taking the dogs out multiple times a day because we didn't have a place for them to go outside. So like it was just nonstop and like moving things from one place. It was just a lot. And it was really very like it was like we got to the point of like, okay, we know once the furniture got here, I feel like everything just sort of was like, now we can relax. And then we let our guards down. And then that's when like everything started going wrong.
Your guard sense. What do you mean by that?
Like simple things like we forgot to like put Harold's belly band on. So then Harold decided to pee on our couch. So now we're dealing with like all the overwhelm plus the smells.
Yeah.
Plus, and then like the stuff that like you use to spray it to clean it has its own smell, and I'm like, oh my god, this is I guess it's new. So then you have like all these different smells, and like, you know, you can't sit down on the couch. So like, okay, we're eating everything in bed, and like, so that's just a whole other thing. And so it's been
everything's a little bit off.
Yeah. Everything's a little bit off. You know, we're not eating the same, like our kitchen isn't set up. So, and our dishwasher is broken. The stove doesn't really turn on. The lights flicker. You know, it's like just
every
the faucets are
possible
dripping. Yeah, and then this guy comes out. His name is Steve. He's a maintenance guy because our faucet was dripping, and then our AI. So I haven't told you this, but there's a lady named Millie. And Millie's our AI that we call when we have a problem. And she's like, how can I help you? This is Millie. And we're like, Millie. I think maybe I have told you about her. Millie.
No.
So she's like an AI. And like sometimes she'll answer you and then she'll just like hang up on you. So I have to call her back. And I'm like, Millie, we just talked and you hung up on me. So I'm talking to Millie and I'm like, Millie, our dishwasher doesn't work. And she's like, okay, you know, have you tried? I'm like, yes, Millie, I tried doing all that. And I told her what I don't do. And then she's like, okay, well, I'll have someone come, I'll put it in. And then it was like Friday night, of course, because like it's Friday night when we find out everything's not working. Right. And then the faucet's dripping. She's like, oh, well, this is actually an emergency. So I'm going to put in an emergency request for you. And I was like, okay. So then Steve comes over and he's like, wait, what? So he goes over to check it out, and he's like, wait, your dishwasher? Yeah, because like the dishwasher, like you would literally like you would put it on, and then you would push on the like console, and then all the lights would turn off. And he's like, oh yeah, this is not good. He's like, man, we didn't do a good job of setting this up for you. Like you shouldn't be seeing me for months when you first move in. And I was like, yeah, it seems like they're keeping you guys pretty busy. You know, not really. Like I don't blame you. And he's like, thank you. I'm so glad you don't blame me. And I'm like, nah, Steve. You and I were cool.
Just get us a new dishwasher, please.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh.
So it's like we can't do dishes. We can't
do anything. Yeah. And I was just wondering because I'm thinking like, okay, so I'm coming out and somebody said to me, because it's my spring break, and they're like, oh, like, are you going to just get to like go to Monterey and like hang out? I was like, I won't ever see an ocean. That's not going to happen.
You'll see an ocean.
I'm going to see an ocean of boxes, a sea of boxes. No, I want us to go walk on the ocean each day. That's just my only thing. But I do think it's that idea of just having that support, that wraparound support. Like you had the support at the beginning, but like having the support after you get there. So it's sort of interesting to kind of think about like what, if you had to move again, like what you might need. What would have made it better or might have made it better? I don't know. But I can see like you guys doing so well with just like being patient with each other so much more. I mean, you know, you guys would have been at each other from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Before, right? I mean, this
100%.
is like huge improvement. Huge.
I know. And like we're literally, we had our family therapist, and it was like the day that everything finally got moved out, and we're literally like sitting in our car in our because the only place we had Wi-Fi that would actually work was still in our old house because the
Oh my
Wi-Fi
gosh.
hadn't brought over yet. So we're like in the car, in the garage, because that's at least where some Wi-Fi gets in, and we're talking to her and we're like scrunched into the car seat to try to get the right angle so she can see us, and she's like, you guys are in it right now, and we're like, we're totally in it.
It's so good though that you're willing to talk about it, because I think, this idea that I don't know, I was just listening to somebody talking about how our students are getting these sort of like TikTok, like this is what's wrong with you and this is how you fix it. And
Yeah.
everything's in these little like bite-sized chunks and everything's supposed to be fixed immediately. And I just think, you can put people in conditions where even though they've done the work, and you've done so much work on yourself, and you and Brian have done so much work together and all of that, but you can create conditions where it becomes untenable, right? Where it's
For
not,
sure.
where you're not at your best. And I feel like that, like, even though I've done the EMDR work and I like go through, you can put me in a situation where I'm like those neural pathways of how I normally would not, have like worked not to respond that way. I'll still get to that place. So, when you're asking every single part of your executive functioning to work at the same time,
Uh-huh.
I mean, and you don't really have
And he's drunk.
exact. He's like not doing. He's like in his hammock having his mojito.
It's so interesting. Flap. You know how you're
Yeah.
talking about the bite-sized chunks. I saw this really interesting video about how the reason why like millennials who grew up with the Sega or Nintendo Entertainment System, the reason why those games were actually useful is that the games didn't tell you what to do. Like you had to get frustrated, and you had to have there's always an end point, right? Because you'd run out of lives, and so once you ran out of
Yeah.
lives, you would have to start over again and kind of figure out, and it taught you problem solving. And
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, what they have is they have save points, and they have, you have unlimited lives, and there's these tutorials teaching you how to do everything. And so the kids, nowadays are not getting as many problem solving capabilities. And that's why they're getting more anxious, because they're just expecting everybody to tell you how to do something. And it's like, man, like, how are these kids going to move? How are they like, it's just, having to have difficulties where they have to figure it out themselves, like, just is such an important life lesson. It's such an important thing that they have to work through. And so it's just been fascinating thinking about that. After hearing, I was like, no wonder Brian wants people to play games, because like the games that he grew up with, like, yeah, they were actually useful for the brain, but like nowadays it's just like, we're cooked. we gotta keep the connection going.
Well, I think, yeah, there's two different things. One is, right, knowing your own brain and what
Yeah.
helps you in situations like this. And, some of it's problem solving and some of it's just knowing, like, I need this support or whatever, to do it in a way that's going to be more functional for me. But the other side of it is, yeah, let's like continue to grow gray matter, people. Like, let's, Josh and I were talking, my son who's now 19.
19.
I know he brings that up on the regular. But it's interesting. He was doing some calculus homework, and we were sitting there, and I saw that he had Chat GPT up, and I was like, just screaming about it, as all math teachers might. And then at the same time, he was checking on something because he wasn't sure how it worked. And I said, okay, fine, but now put it away. And so then we sat there together, and not with no issues, right? But we were sitting there, and he just starts going, man, my brain, it just hurts. It hurts. And I was like, yeah, that's learning. That's called learning. Like, everything. I
Yeah.
don't understand, like, this idea that you're not going to have any sensation in your brain. Let's talk about it in sensations as opposed to pain. But you're not going to have any sensation when you're trying to like create new neural pathways is crazy. Like, of course you are. So, but they don't feel that now. Like, they're not
Yeah.
challenged often to do that. So that actually does feel like pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like that you should never have pain. Everything should always feel good.
Yep.
Nothing should ever be uncomfortable. The number of times I hear students say to me now, oh, I don't, oh, that's really uncomfortable. And I'm like, good. Like discomfort is okay right now. Like that's part of what you need to do. So I feels like maybe you and Brian are having like some discomfort.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's, I kept thinking like, about the diamond, right? You have to put a lot of pressure in order to create a diamond. And so it's like,
Yeah.
One of the things we did say as we were kind of winding down one night was like, there's a lot of potential to this place. And we can see its potential and we can see its beauty, and we just have to like get through it, and we will. And I think it's okay for it to not be done right away, and it's taking time, because that's just life.
And it's also like
easy.
how you two are together, right?
Mm-hmm.
You all need time to like make decisions about things together and live in it for a while sometimes. So even if somebody like puts it all together for you, you have to redo it all anyway, because you're honoring what your brains need now.
Yeah.
And you really do have different, like you've talked so much about it. Like we need a pantry that's like this and it looks like this because of this, right? You guys really actually have done a deep dive, I feel like, into how you need your house set up for both of you.
Yeah. I mean, even just like this room I'm sitting in right now, my desk is actually like away from the wall, and it's in front of the door, because I was like, I just can't have my back to the door. It just really bothers me. So we set it up in a way that probably wouldn't make much sense to anybody else, but like for us it does. And I think that that's really interesting. And it's like the radical acceptance we are needing right now is very great.
Is it high?
Is
it a high kick?
It is like high kicking my ass, okay? That is how high it is. It's like I got a groin stretch. I got a groin pain because of it all, because like I had to high kick so freaking hard. Like literally, Michelle, the paint in the walls that we spent all that time was starting to peel off, because the movers put something against the wall, and then when it popped off because it wasn't fully dry, it's like, and then the walls are they're so glossy because they put you guys, they put super high gloss all over the house. Why? I know why, but why? Like great, yeah, sure, it's easy to pull, but why? Like paint doesn't even adhere to it.
I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Well, on that note, high kick in your arse, I think is the note, and maybe the title of this particular episode. I don't know. But for any of you guys out there who might identify with the move and the struggle that is real for the ADHD community.
Yes.
When you are being overly taxed in an area of all the executive functioning, Meg, I'll be there in 24 hours.
It's okay. It's totally fine to just be wherever you are. And I'm just so happy that we're going to be on the other side of it, and that you will be out here very soon. Michelle, please get here faster. Tell us what to do, but don't tell me what to do. But tell me what to do. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Spicy Brain Podcast, brought to you by Spicy Brain Studios. This week was a little follow-up episode while I'm still in the middle of this great moving adventure. And next week, we're going to get back to the book, The Essential Guide to Raising a Complex Kid. We'll be tackling the big question, where do I start? So we're going to look at the reality that you actually can do it all, but just not all at the same time. And sometimes you have to take aim before you can take action. So Michelle, this one feels very apropos for the move I'm currently in, wouldn't you say?
I think so. Actually, that parenting the inner child at this moment sounds like a good thing to figure out what we should take aim at.
I know. I might actually have a strategy from this. Oh my gosh. But
So
make sure to
helpful.
follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if you're enjoying the show, leaving us a review really helps other neurospicy folks find their way here too. But until then, here's to a great end of the week. And remember to stay curious,
Joyful.
with a whole lot of radical acceptance. Extreme high kick to the groin. Wait, not the groin. Wait. I messed that one up.
It's perfect. Keep it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.